Hi, my name is Clint Case. I'm a MBA student at NCU and I'm finishing up my last term. This video is for the final course, Business 690. In the video, I'm going to talk a little bit about my background, my previous education, my previous work, my current job, and then the NCU program and what it's looked like for me to go to school there, and some things within the courses that I found to be useful in my career so far, with just with limited experience, not even graduating yet. So go into my background. So I graduated from high school, Sherman High School. It's outside of the Dallas. It's a really small school. It's east of the Dallas, about 30 minutes or so, and my graduating class had about 35 students in it. So came down to Eugene to go to the University of Oregon, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do with school here, so kind of like not knowing much about careers or how many jobs there are available. Where I'm from, it's mostly farming, and my parents were both teachers, so that was about the level of exposure that I had to different careers. So I came down to Eugene and went to school for about a year and a half before dropping out, and then I went back maybe 4 years later, and at that time I knew what I wanted to pursue. So I got a degree in economics and a minor in business. Graduated in 2007, and since then, my first job was as a project manager, and I traveled around a lot for that job. Ended up getting laid off with the recession, 2008. So I worked there for about a year. I had moved around, came back to Eugene, and I worked here as a legal clerk, and I worked my way up to an executive assistant, to an IT manager, and then to a data analyst position. And then I switched jobs, went back to being an executive assistant, and in that company worked my way up to being process improvement supervisor, and then I'm currently the market research analyst. So that position had a lot to do with my education at NCU. The idea for the position came out of the marketing class that I took last summer. So I saw there was a gap in the way that we were doing marketing where I worked, and so that was how the position came about. And I'll talk a little bit about that. But going into my NCU experience, I started fall 2016, I guess. So just finishing up, I started midterm and then finishing up midterm. So what that looked like during the whole time I've been at NCU, I've been working. I have two boys that are right now 13 and 12. So had a lot going on. I do some volunteer work. Right now I'm coaching. I'm treasurer for a local nonprofit. So working full time, going to school, and doing those things. So what I did to handle my workload was I would wake up early in the morning, do my work before I went to work, my school work. So, what you see here, this was like where most of my work was done. I'd wake up maybe between 4 to 5, sometime in there, work for a couple hours every morning, and then go to work, and then do whatever I needed to do in the evening and come home. So this way I pretty much had weekends to myself, unless there's term papers every quarter. So outside of that, I was able to do the schoolwork and do everything else that I still wanted to do. So it was really just kind of taking up the time that I wasn't really utilizing anyway. So that's kind of what that looked like. So what happened is I was going through the courses at NCU is I had this marketing class, and what I recognized and brought up to my boss was that in my current place of employment, sales was driving what products we were going to be introducing, and it was more like the customers were driving that. And there were somewhat from our purchasing department too, is saying like, oh, we can get this product, but I think it was mostly driven by customers. So we weren't going out and doing our own research and deciding, this is what we want to bring in, and then getting feedback from customers. But we were just, a customer would have an idea, so we would go and bring it in, and oftentimes that was not working out well, as we would not be able to, we'd get like a couple customers or something, but there was a lot of items that we would bring in and then they wouldn't do well, and then we would end up discontinuing them. So I think this year we carry around 4,000 SKUs, and this year we've introduced a couple hundred already, and that's different pack sizes and things. So it's not just like totally new items, but it's a lot of items to introduce, and we typically have some that are very successful, and then some that are okay, and a lot that we end up discontinuing. So this is the first year of me in this position doing market research, looking out at a lot of different factors, looking at the competition, the market size, looking at I don't know what's trending. So what I've done is I've developed a whole kind of process for doing this. And so where we're at right now is I'm doing my process, I'm presenting all this information, and then we're kind of like, the handoff is something we're working on, where we get operations to do their part, we get procurement to do their part, and then sales to go out and see to gauge customer interest and try and get some customers on board where we can sign contracts before bringing in products. So anyway, that's kind of where we're at right now. It's just in the beginning stages, but it's really moving from a sales kind of driven to a marketing driven organization. And it's hard to I don't know, discuss what the results have been so far, but I think there's been a large shift in the company, and people are recognizing that. It's to shift 200-person organization into doing something that we've been doing for the last 40 years, out of doing that and into this new way of doing things. So anyway, but that all came out of this marketing class I had at NCU. And what I'm going to be doing in the future with my degree, I have some different options, looking at potentially doing some some teaching in addition to my job. There's some other work that I've been looking at where I can do it in kind of a part-time capacity, potentially doing some consulting in this area, and maybe having my own business. So there's a lot of options. I think one thing about going back to school was that you kind of waste some amount of time, and so just using the time that that I spent doing schoolwork, just doing something productive and that I don't know, that's satisfying. So I have my job, which I like, and then I have kind of like my own thing that I want to be doing outside of that. So anyway, it's been a great experience. I've had great teachers, and I like I said kind of in the video, is like I just found a way to slot it into what I was currently doing. I didn't have to cut a bunch of stuff to be able to go back to school. So that was for me really important. All right, thanks. Bye.